Hi everyone, Queeveen here from the comfort of my kitchen. In today's video, we are going to take a look at the constellations that we're going to see during February. So we will start in the city with some amount of light pollution. We can see the planets and of course the brightest stars here. A lot of the constellations are nice and famous and recognizable. We'll go forward here. There we go, just to get the moon out of the way. Of course, we've got Orion, one of the most famous constellations, with our view here in the city. In a city like Cork, at least, we can still see the tip of Orion's sword, but of course it is Orion's belt that's really the famous part. Sirius, the brightest star, is just down there, Venus, the brightest planet, then just on the other side of the sky, or at least further to the west. Up here we've got Auriga, one of the less famous constellations, but it is a very recognizable pentagonal shape. Just over here we've got Gemini. Mars can help you find Gemini at this time of year. The two brightest stars in Gemini, Pollux and Castor, they're nice and easy to spot, but the other parts of the constellation Gemini, even if we take a closer look here, we can kind of see those other stars that are part of the constellation, but especially in a city with as much light pollution as Cork, it is going to be a little bit tricky. In between Gemini and Canis Major, we've got Canis Minor over here with Procyon. So Procyon is a nice bright star. It's higher in the sky than Sirius, and it is the other dog. Taking a look closer to the middle of the sky, we're here at just 20 past 7, so 20 past half past 7. We've got Jupiter right above the south. We've got Taurus starting just under Jupiter, or sort of centered just under Jupiter, with Aldebaran. The horns of Taurus go right up here, practically to the edge of Gemini and Auriga, whereas the back comes way over here with the Pleiades. And of course we can see a couple of the sisters there, this sort of duo or trio of stars as we're seeing them, with the light pollution in the city. Taking even a slightly closer look shows 7 of the 7 sisters, and if we were to zoom in even more, of course there are thousands of stars in that open cluster. While we're zooming in on things, we will take a quick closer look at Orion's sword. It is a star forming region, the Orion Nebula here, so there is brand new stars forming in here. While the Pleiades are still a young open cluster, those stars have had time to spread out and shed the cloud of gas from whence they came, the cloud of hydrogen gas, molecular hydrogen, that formed the stars has been blown away here, whereas we can see it as nebulosity in Orion's sword. This kind of fin shape here is the constellation Perseus. So Algol would be just at the end of it here. There we go, that's Algol. So this is Perseus with the head of Medusa. We've got Cassiopeia up over there, and way down here we've got the square of Pegasus. So the last time we took a look at the constellations and the sky, the square of Pegasus was still, reasonably high in the sky at 20 past 7, and now that we're pushing into the middle of February, we're looking at the middle of February here, at least because I wanted to get the moon out of the way. We can see that the square of Pegasus is now way down towards the west, much lower in the sky, and we've got a clear view of the sickle of Leo. I say clear, it would be a lot clearer if we were in the countryside, but the sickle of Leo is just there. We've got Regulus there. That's already above the horizon by the time the sky is dark, once we're into the middle of February, though it will take a little bit longer for it to rise more prominently into the sky. Of course, we've got the Plough, the Big Dipper now, already over the northeast, just once we get dark, again, just at 20-ish past 7, pointing up to the North Star. So the last time we really took a look at the constellations in the northern sky, I think it was just before the new year, so back in 2024. As the sky was getting dark, the Plough, the Big Dipper, was way over towards the northwest, and by the time we came around to sunrise, the Plough was after coming over to the northeastern side of the sky. Now that we're this much later into the year, the Plough, the Big Dipper, is going to end up, I think, almost at the zenith by the time we're through to morning, or even a little bit past it. So we can see here that the Plough is after coming all the way around to the northwest by the time the glow of sunrise is coming up into the sky. So even though it will always take, 24 hours for the Plough to appear to make a full circle around the North Star, where you need to start, where the plough will appear at sunset, where you need to sort of count from, will slowly drift over the course of the year. We do get to see the plough, as long as you're far enough north, you do get to see the plough all night long, every night of the year. But where exactly you see it, that will vary, similar to how the constellations that you see down in the south vary. Speaking of which, we're now very much through to morning time. We have the glow of the slightly past full moon there, but we are also getting some of the sunrise glow starting to come over the horizon. We've got Scorpius, nice and clear. So Scorpius is now nice and clear in the south as the sun is coming up. As we continue to get closer and closer to summertime, Scorpius will end up being pretty much in the middle of the sky in the middle of the night, or directly over the south in the middle of the night, even though it will be quite low in the sky for those of us here in Ireland. That's where the core of the Milky Way is passing through, Scorpius and Sagittarius. So as we move further and further from midwinter, we're going to start seeing more and more of that constellation. If we have Leo here, then this must be Spica, this nice bright blue star. Indeed, that's Spica in Virgo. So one of the tricks, one of the star hopping guides that brings you to Spica in Virgo is to start with the plough or the Big Dipper. Arc of the handle of the Big Dipper, the tail of the bear, you follow the arc to Arcturus and then you spike onto Spica. So that means this is Arcturus in Bootes or Bootes, however you'd like to pronounce it. That constellation is sort of a kite shape. So even though a lot of the stars in Bootes are pretty faint, shooting star, always nice to see. Arcturus is nice and bright, so once you find Arcturus, the rest of the constellations isn't too hard to pick out. Whereas, well, with Virgo, it's similar. We can find Spica easily enough, whereas the other stars in that constellation, they are pretty faint. Libra must be here. This must be Libra because it's in between Virgo and Scorpius, Virgo and Scorpius. Libra is right in between. Sagittarius must come after. With those constellations in particular, they're nice and easy to spot because they're so famous. The signs of the zodiac are, well documented as the zodiacal constellations. And of course, if you are familiar with the zodiacal constellations, that can help you at various times of the night. For example, Cancer the Crab would be up there, even though Cancer the Crab is practically invisible in the city. Some famous constellations or well-known constellations, even if they're very difficult to see from the city, you can figure out where they are, where they should be. For example, just very quickly, turning around here to the north, I can just about see Cork Caverly. But I know that Canis Venatici or Canis Venatici is there because it's just under the tail of the plough. Even though it's very difficult to see many of the stars in Draco, I know it's got to be around here because that's where Draco is. Over time, you do gain a familiarity with the constellations, and that can help you figure out which ones you're supposed to be looking at. So here we go, the actual constellations up in the sky. And you can see that some of them, like the rabbit here, the unicorn here, they're practically invisible if you're looking at them from the city. Cancer the Crab, a very famous constellation, practically invisible even from a city like Cork. Aries the Ram is visible, but it is just 2 stars. That's down to the constellation being quite small. Triangulum is both a small constellation and the stars can be difficult to see from the city. But we've got the Square of Pegasus, we've got Perseus, we've got Medusa, we've got the Taurus, we've got Taurus the Bull, we've got Orion, we've got our little dog, we've got our big dog. All of these are constellations that, thanks to the bright stars they contain, they're very easy to locate from the city. Cassiopeia, just up there. Cassiopeia has that recognizable shape. Of course, the plough is a very recognizable shape as well. We've got the sickle of Leo. Even though the actual sickle of Leo might be difficult to spot from the city, some of the stars in it are quite faint, we know that it's got that bright star Regulus. We know that it's going to come after Gemini. So these things can help us to find it. There is Boetes, or Bootes, with the bright star Arcturus. Spica is just coming up there in the hands of Virgo. So we can see how far down that is and how big a constellation Virgo is as well. There's Libra. It's only got a couple of bright recognizable stars in it, but it must be there because it is in between Virgo and Scorpius. And then coming up to morning time, we've got the front of Pegasus coming back there, and we've got Scorpius, the Scorpion. We've also got the Summer Triangle coming back up So it's there in the morning because it's missing for most of the night because we're still very much in winter. But we can see those 3 bright stars there in the morning as well if you are up at sunrise. So just a quick run through of some of the prominent constellations, how to spot them, particularly how to see them from the city, because that's where most of us are going to be. Now, of course, we're missing some things here because of where we are here in Ireland, but we are going to take a look at the sky from other locations soon. So if you enjoyed this video, please do like it. If you'd like to catch my future videos or just support this channel, then make sure to subscribe to it. You can also check out my website, queevinscontent.ie, if you'd like to read some of this information, and hopefully I'll see you back here next time.